foundation.
So let me ask you this. So you only hire Christians?
No. We hire Christians that are created, they're bred.
How do you find those unicorns?
Well,
Welcome to the Maverick Entrepreneur Podcast, where business success meets personal purpose. Here we empower entrepreneurs to strike that perfect balance between massive growth and unwavering values. Dive deep into strategies, inspirations, and stories that ensure you set your foundation in faith and don't compromise your family on your ascent to the top.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Maverick Entrepreneur. This is part 2 with Robert Colucci. Do not watch this one unless you've watched part 1, because you will miss out on the context, miss out on the foundation, and you never build the right house if you have the wrong foundation. So go back, watch part 1. This is part 2. Get ready to rock. Here we go. I mean, this is stuff that we need to hear. This is like parenting next level, but I see all your kids respect you. My aha moment where I go, I got to get this guy. You spoke at Awaken You, and your entire family showed up.
I didn't invite him. I didn't even tell him.
I know, but what I'm telling you is, who wants to go hear their dad speak unless dad has something valuable to share? And it was your first time speaking. That messed up a bunch of my leaders. Like, hey, do you guys know that his family showed up? I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Who sent him the invite? I don't know. I'm like, I'm glad that they came.
I didn't tell him.
Yeah.
I purposely didn't tell him. I want them to be hungry.
They're hungry.
To listen to my...
So my question is, that is caught, not taught. I know some people are like, hey, I need you to come, support me at this. No, they were coming and proud and excited to hear their dad speak.
When you let your kids make mistakes, when you let them go and they smash their teeth up against the brick wall, and you had given them a formula for, hey, if you do this, you won't smash your teeth up against that brick wall. Once the pain hits, they're going to think, oh, if I would have only listened to dad. So I've allowed my kids to make so many mistakes in life, and I gave them just enough of the truth at the beginning so that they've learned that when I listen to dad, things go well. When I don't listen to dad, things go poorly.
Give us an example.
In finances, in maintaining a car, in backing up a car. I tell them, when you back up a car, before you get in the car, you go outside and you make sure that the rear of the car, there's no skateboards, there's no children, there's no nothing. And the backup speed is 1 mile an hour. I'm like, that sounds silly, Dad. Nobody backs up at 1 mile an hour. So obviously they don't obey. At the beginning, everybody disobeys Daddy's laws. And then it's just a matter of time before somebody runs over a skateboard and there's a conflict, there's a fight. It's like, hey, so what's going on in here? And they're like, oh, you don't want to know. They kind of know. It's like, and so those things have happened so many times in life.
But you ran out immediately and bought a new skateboard, right?
No, absolutely not. Every time they crash their car, it stays dented until they fix it. I actually laugh at it. Like, when all else fails, follow the instructions.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I was thinking about just the way that the kids showed up for you, the way that they were passionately excited about it. I'm like, that's it. And the way that you teach consequence. Most parents, I've been watching lately. We just had some friends, and it's coming up, it's going to be Christmas not too long. Last year, I was teaching my kids. I said, I watched this one family. They are ruled by their kids. Matter of fact, it's hard to even have them over for dinner because
it's impossible to have them around. They'll destroy your house.
Yeah, it's not even, I'm not worried about the kids destroying, but I can't connect with the parents because the wife is always chasing her kids around.
The kids always interrupt,
and there's no consequence to it. And the kids run the house.
Yeah. And
then, so we go to watch the Christmas, or you're walking around looking at all the lights in some of these neighborhoods in San Diego, and they're beautiful. And, I told my daughter years ago, hey, bring your jacket. She goes, I don't want it. Okay. It's going to be cold tonight. No, it's not, Dad. I'm not cold. Okay, but it will be. I need you to bring your jacket. And I remember we were out at going through it, and
Perfect
man,
example.
the fog layer came in. It was cold.
Cold.
She was
She's
shivering. She was
learning the
cold.
whole time.
No, but she hadn't yet. She's going to my wife, and my wife's like, "Hey, we need to go." I'm like, "Babe, I'm here with all my friends. We're doing the loop." And my wife's like, "Well, then give her your jacket." And I said, "Nope."
No.
Because the right thing as a dad you want to do is,
Give her your-
no.
No.
There's consequence to your, matter of fact, you just didn't say no. You threw a tantrum that you weren't, where you were so stubborn. Now I'm going to show you the reciprocation of stubbornness.
Yeah.
And I let my daughter like shivering.
Yeah.
To the point she got in the car, she was so upset. And
Yeah, but she learned a
my wife
valuable
was-
lesson that she'll use for the rest of her life.
guess what? She is, when I say get your jacket,
No, no problem
I've
now.
never heard anything since. Now, I had friends just recently, they left early of a night we had planned because their kids, similar situation. I'm thinking to myself, you better teach your kids consequence. My kids know consequence. So if I don't teach them consequence now, when they get into high school and someone's been drinking, they know not to get in the car. It's easier to call dad and have dad come pick them up than getting in the car with someone that's been drinking, or they themselves, whatever it may be, because there is a consequence to that action. And if they didn't learn it at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they're definitely not going to learn it in high school.
That's right. We didn't spank them when they were 2, so now we have problems in grade school.
Yeah.
And we didn't let the teacher give them authority or a discipline in grade school because we told the teacher to back off. So now we have to teach him in high school. So in high school, there's no authority and there's no discipline. So now we have to rely on the cops when he's 18. And there's no, you understand? Basically, we never teach the kid until he's in prison.
Yep.
And that's when we take out the rod. Wouldn't it have been a lot easier to do a little swap on the butt when he was 2? That's the time for discipline. God's at the top, then the man, then the wife, then the kids. That's the authority structure of the Bible. When you see that it's been inverted, when the kid is at the top, God's at the bottom. And then it's the kid, the wife, the dad. You know, the married with children,
Yeah.
where they
Oh,
always
yeah.
make the dad look like a complete idiot.
Yeah.
And God, of course, is out of the picture completely.
Yeah, totally.
So the kids run the roost, and
Yeah.
then the second layer of authority is the wife. Third layer of authority is the idiot husband.
Never good for a marriage.
It's never good for all 4 of them are miserable.
Yeah.
In any circumstances where it's not God, husband, wife, children, when you invert that, all 4 of them are miserable. You learn that with Little House on the Prairie. Remember Mr. and Mrs. Olson?
Yeah.
They had miserable husband, miserable wife, miserable kid. The other family that ran properly, everybody's happy. Everybody's enjoying themselves. The woman is comfortable, potent, strong, comfortable in her role. The husband submits to his creator. So as the bride of Christ, we know that sometimes we have to submit too. We're not tyrant jerks that do whatever we want. We're under submission too. So I submit to God, you submit to me, the kids submit to you, and it works great. Everybody's happy.
I love it. Well, listen, I want to switch gears because this is gold, and this is going to help all entrepreneurs with getting their family in order, how to raise kids that aren't entitled, how not to, I don't care if you're a billionaire, millionaire, or you're broke, there is a way to raise kids the right way without entitlement and put work ethic in them. And I think this is helping a lot of people, so I appreciate that. Now, I want to switch gears. Let's talk about how to be a Christian, have character, and become wealthy and not let wealth go to your head, not get greedy. How do you maintain a lifestyle where you don't feel like you for business reasons, you guys got planes, you got a portfolio, you guys are doing it, but it's not your highlight reel. I could tell your family is the most important thing. Wealth, you didn't have it, you have it. I can tell it doesn't run your life. Whereas, I hang out with a lot of other wealthy people, and it's just, there's a way different vibe that repels me. And I have lots of influencers, and they're not on my podcast because I don't want to project. The ultimate goal isn't money. But hey, I'd like to have a lot more. I could do a lot more blessing for a lot of other people if I had a lot more. I'd like to talk about how do we get our thermostat set right?
I tell my kids the most important decision you make is the God you worship. Notice the way I word it. Like there's many, and you got to pick one. There's an obligation. You have to actually hunt and look for the one you want. Because if you think that, oh, you have to believe in God, that's not specific enough. There's the God of this world and there's the God that created the universe. And you got to get to know both of them and you have to vote. You have to choose. So that's decision number one. The
And
God
when you say
worship.
God of this world, what do you mean by that for people that don't know that terminology?
I'm talking about Satan.
Yeah.
Lucifer. There's a demonic realm that there's a guy in charge of a demonic realm. The guy that walks with Jesus for 40 days in the desert, Lucifer on earth, and he walked around like he owned the place. And Jesus says, yeah, you kind of do. Not for long, but temporarily we're living in a satanically controlled world. So you have to know the two forces that are there, and you have to make that decision because you will serve one or the other,
Yeah.
whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
So most important decision is the God you worship. Second most important decision is the woman you marry. And the third most important decision is your career, the job you choose to do. So
Isn't that amazing how many people will put career above
notice it's inverted again.
inverted again? It's amazing inversion.
That's right.
Which is really deception, which is really perversion.
Because you put money first, and then I'm going to go look for a wife, and then I'm going to look for religion. Your wife married you for your money. You're going to have a miserable marriage.
Yeah.
And you're looking for a God now to fix all the problems that you've made for yourself. And God's not a butler. He doesn't clean up messes. He teaches you how to do it right, and then he leaves you free.
Well, thank goodness for his grace because he's cleaned up a couple of my dumb decisions. But,
The grace comes in
Yeah.
after he sees that you got on your knees and you ask.
Exactly. Repentance.
That's right.
If
Because
people
if you go
knew-
up to him with that attitude like know,
Yeah.
the Italians after a Rocky movie,
Yeah.
you're not going to get grace.
Yeah, you're not. And the truth is, if more Christians understood true repentance, they'd be out of a whole lot quicker.
Yes.
The quicker I can implement that, the faster my life gets.
Yeah.
In all the right ways. But I never learned that until I had a good teacher telling me that. And because a lot of Christians think repentance is a nasty word, but if they know it's the word you want closest to your heart, that it can help you the most and get your life back on track. I mean, it's so good. Now, let me ask you this. So you started off 16, you had a different mentality. You wanted to make some money. You and your partner started. How did you start seeing where to go to build wealth?
Okay.
And did you have to check yourself along the way? And if you had to give me 3 lessons that were hard lessons that you had to learn as you got wealthier, what'd you learn about friends, relationships, money principles? Just drop some knowledge on us.
At the beginning, you start, little businesses like mowing the lawn, a hot dog stand, a check cashing store, things that didn't require a lot of capital. And you learn business principles. Then you figure out, okay, now that I think I know how to do something, you got to get your hands on some capital. That means you have to use other people's money. So friends, family, you got to find somebody with capital and mobilize and leverage that capital. Now, why do people with money lend it to you? Well, this is like a husband and a wife. There's a natural relationship. People with money are looking for people to work. People that don't have any money are looking for people with money. So there's a natural need for each other. They need laborers. I need your capital. So you have to convince the guy with the money that you're trustworthy, that I'm going to take care of your capital like I would do my own, that I love you enough to not steal it and to protect it, and that I'm competent enough. You can't just be a loving guy. You actually have to know something. You have to be educated, competent. And so once the man with capital sees that you know what you're doing and that you're trustworthy, he will give you access to his capital, and then you can share in the fruits of that. We figured out immediately that the money guy gets 60% and we ask for 40%. So that was our profit split. We convinced people that, hey, we're trustworthy, we know what we're doing, we can manage this building, we can buy it, fix it, sell it, and then we'll split the profit 60-40. They're like, oh, how do you know how much it costs to run this building? Because we used to cut the grass. We used to, we know when the sprinkler's leaking that the water bill goes through the roof. Through all those little experiences, we convinced investors. At the beginning, it was friends and family. Yes, so at the beginning, it was dad, my uncle. But as they give you a little bit of money that you invest and it turns out to be profitable, other people start to see it. And then you start hitting up the outside world. But
Mm.
whether you're raising money from friends and family or outside investors, those are the two things you always have to prove: that you know what you're doing and that you're trustworthy.
Mm.
They have to be convinced that you care about their feelings more than you care about yours,
Mm.
as in love.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, people say I'm a loving guy, but usually I care about my feelings more than I care about yours, in
Mm.
which case you're selfish. And an investor will immediately see that, dude, you're not going to care about my money. You're just using me.
Yeah.
The minute the investor is convinced that this person is principled, like Joseph with
Yep.
with Pharaoh.
Love that
Pharaoh
story.
immediately figured out
Yep.
this kid
Yep.
is trustworthy,
Yep.
and he can handle the capital of the nation better than me.
Yep.
Go ahead and give him the ring.
Yep.
That's what it took. He showed that he was competent, and he showed that he was trustworthy. Once you're those two things, capital will follow you. Capital will chase you. We got to the point that we started swatting it out of the room. It's like, we can't handle this. We can't. We're not smart enough to handle what they're proposing, so we have to turn down the work. And then you go back to school, and because we're ambitious, the minute that we lost the deal because we didn't have the knowledge to do it, then you immediately go and you study and you
study
work
it.
to get the knowledge.
Yeah. So what's your strength? What do you bring to the table?
Between Dario and myself, well, society is based on cops and firemen. The cops provide the law, the firemen provide the grace. Notice, cops
I love your analogies.
are law, and they arrest. They go into the room. They're not looking for who didn't do it. They're
Yeah.
looking for who did it. Arrest them, bring them. That's it. The fireman, on the other hand, he couldn't care less who did what. He helps everybody. He's on the grace side. So on that front, Dario tends to be more law. I tend to be more grace. Dario is a bottom-up thinker. I'm a top-down thinker. What do I mean by that? He takes all the detail and the information and assembles the picture one pixel at a time. I go the other way. I zoom out, and I was like, okay, what's the big picture? Where are we going? What are we missing? What are we needing? Dario's a king. Everybody's either a king, a priest, or a prophet.
Yeah.
Kings are leaders. They thrive in conflict. You give them a hill, they'll go conquer it.
Give us all three.
Prophets are the guys who stood in the background, and it's like, what are you going to do tomorrow? They plan, they think, tomorrow, what do you want to do? I want to conquer. So they talk to the king, they give him advice. They're consiglieri. But they're in the back. They sit in the back. The king sits in the front. And then there's the priest. The priest has got a natural servant heart. So Dario's a king. I tend to be more of a prophet. So we fit well together. You put two kings at the helm of a company. You put two roosters in the chicken coop.
Yep.
You learn a lot in farming.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. So
So true. So true.
When you're choosing a spouse, you tell that to your kids. If because women have the same characteristics. They're either kings, they're priests, or they're prophets. So identify those traits and look for people that are better at what you're not good at.
Yeah.
Don't look for a mirror, somebody that just repeats.
A lot of people like to find the same as them because they have the affinity and they think it's good. But in business, you're adding no value.
That's right.
And so, and some of my closest friends are completely opposite me, but it gives me reprieve. Like, I love just to be able to talk to them because they think so different. Yeah. It's fascinating. Yeah.
And we laugh it up. We make fun of each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you want to get grace? Go get it from Dario. You forgive everybody.
Yeah.
So we laugh it up.
Well, it just tells me you got to be secure, because some people get envious of the king who's the front. You know what I mean? They look that part. How do you maintain that relationship and don't let your ego get dinged?
Because everybody's got somebody richer than them. Everybody's got somebody poorer than them.
Yeah.
Everybody's got somebody smarter than them. Everybody's got somebody dumber than them. If somebody's better at something than you are, let them do it.
Yes.
Step back.
I had someone recently ask me, like, hey, why, you seem like you're an alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you have your own church? And I laughed.
See,
I laugh.
and they're trying to put enmity between you
Totally.
and Pastor
Totally.
Jurgen.
Totally.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Why
Well,
would-
they don't know our culture. They don't, and I think they were trying to be sincere. I don't think it was a thing, but that's how the enemy will cause deception.
Exactly.
And so I just kind of, in my mind, I smirked and I go, hey, you have no idea. You know, back in the day when I was maybe not as spiritually mature, maybe more ego driven because I was in my chiropractic world, because I never wanted to be in this world, but it was always my calling. I would have had some insecurity moments, but now that I know the type of leadership I'm under, now I can never be that person. And you know why I thrive? Because I'm under a covering. And I know where my lane is. And the reason I have what I have is because I'm not that. And so I can complement that. And if I could be an armor bearer to that, that means if I could help accelerate this, that means I'm a slipstream. I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, that's a very small-minded, and I had explained to him.
It's satanic thinking. Remember, Satan says, I need to be like the Most High.
I needed to hear that because in my mind, I just said, man, that's wrong thinking. There's a better way to think, but you're right. It is satanic because it's usurping authority.
And you're only going to be happy when you're the guy at the top.
Yeah. Which is the seed.
Which is the seed of all rebellion.
As soon as it's amazing, the Holy Spirit, as soon as it was said, boom, plucked.
Yeah.
I was like, we're not going to let that. But it was funny to hear how other people, and this was a nice God-fearing pastor that just can't wrap his head around how we do things.
Yeah. We don't mind giving authority. We love God and Jesus's way of doing things. If somebody can do it better than us, we actually give them the authority.
Yes. I watch you guys do that.
Yeah.
It's
why would
amazing
I want to be there?
How many people, you have some key people that have been with you guys a long time, one of your main guys. You know, you went to his son's wedding. He goes out and prepares your boat for you, but he then stays. And it's, you didn't get that overnight, but here you have someone that's loyal that is works their butt off for you, but then part of the family.
Yeah.
You know, it's like people can't wrap their head around that. But that's kingdom.
As our world goes, as our kingdom grows, everybody within the kingdom has access to pretty much everything that's within it.
Yeah.
There are roles. Yes, this guy makes more money than this guy's more authority than that guy. But everybody kind of knows that if anybody can do my job better than me, I'll give it to him.
The way that you rule your kingdom reminds me of how David.
Yes.
You know, he went and found guys that had skill sets that got kind of thrown away, and then he equipped them. They became loyal to David. And then when he became king, he already had built
his team. You can't do it by yourself.
You can't do it by yourself, but you're very few, like the way that I watch you, because the world is carnal. If they perform, I keep them. If they don't, I fire them. But they don't disciple them up in a way that you have. And I watch how your people are loyal to you, the way they talk to you, honor you. Nobody's perfect. They're going to learn along the way where they did right, where they did wrong. But the way that you've built your kingdom is why I believe God has shown grace, favor, and expanded your territory of influence.
And I have nothing but God to thank for it, because most of the most effective people in the team are literally people that we were preaching religion to. The relationship started on religion. Whether it's my wife, whether it's Dario, actually everybody in the top tier of the company, what started the relationship was actually religion. My CFO, atheist engineer from northern Italy that came over to visit me, and we started talking about evolution. The entire relationship started on me asking him, now, the first and second laws of thermodynamics, what are they? And he spit them out. You know, everything goes downhill. And yet you're telling me that everything is going uphill with evolution. What is that? And he stared at me for like 10 seconds. He's like, I never thought of that. Our entire relationship started on that moment. He's like, well, what do you got to that short circuit?
Yeah.
And a year and a half later, he's getting baptized.
Does not compute.
Everything he goes, he was an expert in both fields.
But you're not walking around saying, and we didn't get to this point, maybe we could wrap it on this point. it's not like you hired him because he was a believer.
No.
You just said he was an atheist.
He came to my house to teach me about evolution.
But you hired him.
Hang on. I didn't hire him when he was an evolutionist, because you can't have a CFO whose job is to maintain financial order by design. If the guy thinks that if you just do nothing, a Ferrari will evolve out of the desert all by itself.
Oh, this is gold.
You're not going to put that guy in charge. You have
Yeah.
to understand, this guy has to understand design, and that any order is caused by somebody willing it. It
Yeah.
never happens by chance.
That's brilliant,
So you
especially
can't-
in finance.
Especially in finance.
Jesus
That's like,
talked more about money than anything.
you can't hire the manager of your gas station if the guy, plays lotto tickets. That tells you for sure he can't manage the gas station.
So let me ask you this. So you only hire Christians?
No. We hire Christians that are created. They're bred.
How do you find those unicorns?
Well, let's go back to this gold moving thief from Ukraine.
Yeah.
Eventually, this guy's going to have a high position in the company. You could just see it. In 3 years, he's worked himself to the point where he didn't speak English, was literally unemployable, and
Yeah.
now he's turning down jobs at $25-26 an hour. In 2 years, a change in thinking, the Holy Spirit starts cleaning out the bad ideology.
So like David,
yeah.
who went and found those guys and then equipped them to
Yeah.
be warriors and armor bearers, and his 33 mighty men
Yeah.
came from the rejects of Saul.
So I spend more time with the rejects of Saul, with the rejects of society, but they have that one element where they said, there's something wrong with the way I'm doing things. I need to connect myself to a creator, and so they're hungry to learn. That one element is all we look for. Because once they take responsibility of all issues in life, when it goes wrong, it's my fault, you can work with that. When you have somebody who's a socialist who blames everybody else, when you have somebody who's allergic to responsibility, like the water on a duck's back. They just can't stand being responsible for anything.
Yeah.
That guy's useless. We're looking for people who want to be responsible,
Yeah.
who want to take weight, who want to take blame, and therefore want to take authority.
Yeah. And do you sit around and teach on biblical principles, or how do they get it?
I tell everybody that you should read your business book and your history book and your family book every day. And everybody knows which book I'm talking about. Do they read it every day? I don't know. But I immediately let them know that this book will bring fruit in every aspect of your life. It's like a magic book.
Yeah.
And they see me doing it, and they see that it seems like it's working out for him. So they have a high value for the scriptures by the time they leave my house at 22 or 23.
How do you do business? I mean, I've been to some fundraisers, and you guys are involved in politics, and it doesn't matter creed or religion. Then I see that you have some very close Jewish friends that are very successful. Then you guys are going to, you got Dubai, you got Saudi
Muslim
friends, you get
friends, yeah.
Muslim friends. How do you have these relationships and they respect you because you're not quiet about your faith, but you got high level, very wealthy Muslims, high value, very wealthy Jews?
I work that into the child teaching. It's like, see, guys, when you need capital, at the end of the day, you got to go for the descendants of Abraham because they're the ones who got all the money.
Oh gosh.
So my kids, they see a Jew and they see an Arab and they're thinking, "Ooh, Abraham's kids." These guys are blessed with certain mandates. They're like they're trust fund kids. And I show them that throughout history of when they did things right, how they prospered, when they do things wrong, how they suffer. And you can be a trust fund kid and be happy. You can be a trust fund kid and be miserable. So when we go to Dubai, it's nothing but a Bible study, and it's fascinating. It's interesting.
Oh my gosh, I need to go to Dubai with you. I want that Bible study.
When we go to Israel, same exact thing.
I had more aha moments when I went to Israel.
Israel is the one
about rewiring my thinking.
Yes.
It helped me a lot.
It's absolutely essential.
Yes. It put this breath of life in me. I came back more passionate than ever, just about things that I did not understand that became alive to me when I was in Israel.
We call ourselves a Judeo-Christian culture, but in time, what we've done is we've taken the vitamin J out of our religion. The Jew, we've taken vitamin J out. And unfortunately, that's to our detriment, because this is a Jewish idea. Christianity is a Jewish idea. The minute you take vitamin J out of a Jewish idea, it's like taking gluten out of Italian pizza. You're going to ruin it. The Jews still have a lot to teach, and the divorce that we've done with them is silly.
Yeah.
They're struggling with their identity with their Messiah. We have two quibbles with them, is who the Messiah is and what the Messiah is. They're two separate fights. But not all of their DNA is off. A lot of it, they still have something to teach. And so when you go to Israel and you sit down with the Orthodox non-Christian Jewish rabbi, and instead of trying to beat him over the head with the New Testament, say, teach me your Old Testament.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden this guy's like, whoa, these people are hungry for the truth.
Yeah.
And you grow with each other.
That's amazing. I think that's in life. That could be with marriage.
Yes.
That could be with religion. That could be with
Yes.
faith. That could be in business. That could be with our
Yes.
kids. You just hit the nail on
You
the
can
head.
learn from anything.
Going to learn from any of it. Well, I know I'm getting the look like our time is up. Time flies when you're digging deep on that. I think we've covered politics, religion, business, family. I think we covered some great topics. Hey, if this was enlightening, helpful, made your mind kind of open up to see possibilities, and you think we need to do something, make sure you DM us, email us, ask us questions, give us your feedback, because I want this to be a learning relationship. You know, I do these selfishly for myself. I could sit down and have coffee with Robert anytime, but put the record mic on. You're getting behind the scenes to not be entertainment. This is really to help you better your life, better your marriage, better your future, which at the end of the day is your legacy. And so thank you for joining this episode of the Maverick Entrepreneur. Robert, thank you for dropping some wisdom and knowledge and just sharing life experience with us, because I think if we can you're not old by any means, but just tap into those people that have more wisdom than ourselves, we can help a lot more people. People are so caught up in entertainment and so distracted by the world. I think we've gotten away from the things that really matter. And I appreciate you bringing us back to True North today and taking time out of your day to be here. So God bless you all. Thank you for watching The Maverick Entrepreneur.